It's all too much. I've got 3 meetings this week for the Quotals Law Review. I've got 4 lectures, 3 tutorials and a doctor's appointment and tennis training. Where on earth am I going to find time to fit in study? I can't even easily work out when my free time is. Ah, and I've got Tim's 21st and my grandma's birthday party too. I've just got too many calendars. I'm never going to get this INB101 assignment done. I can't do this anymore. I just can't.
What are you doing?
I just can't organise my time.
What do you mean? Talk to me.
Well, how do you plan your time? You have at least as much as I do, but you don't even seem stressed.
I use StudyMate.
StudyMate? Who's that?
Well, StudyMate's a web service. I can access it on my phone or on a computer. It takes my class timetable, as well as my exam dates from QUT Virtual. It takes my personal and work schedules from Google Calendar, and it then combines all of this information and puts it into a calculation service called Wolfram Alpha.
Well, how does that help?
Well, StudyMate's a mashup. It uses all 3 of these services and provides me with a study plan which tells me how many hours of free time I actually have a day. It's really useful for then planning my study. I mean, as long as I use Google Calendar properly, it lets me know exactly how much free time I have. I can then even enter my own study times or due dates manually on the website, which is a bonus feature.
Can you tell me more?
See, StudyMate can use the QUT Virtual service to see my university timetable. It knows when I'm at uni, and it can later calculate this as not free time, so it can figure out what is free time, and then I can figure out from that how long I have to study.
QUT Virtual is a web service that is actually a combination of services itself. One service it provides is compiling and displaying student class and timetable information. It can display a student's individual class schedule for one semester and export this in the widely supported IPS format. It also displays this information as well as exam timetable information in a plain text format on a web page accessed through the Study tab on the QUT Virtual website. This information is then encoded into XML for export, so that it can be used by StudyMate. StudyMate is a mashup of these 3 services. However, it is also a web service itself, which displays its output in the form of a timetable on a website and can be viewed from a regular web browser. What does the fact that it is a web service mean though? Well, the 3 web services invoked by StudyMate are loosely coupled. This means that they can be invoked and changed independently, and StudyMate actually relies on this fact. Both the QUT Virtual and Google Calendar services need to operate before Wolfram Alpha can calculate the end result for obvious reasons. StudyMate is also contracted. Its behavior, parameters, and components are publicly available. This is because the 3 services within StudyMate communicate with each other and exchange information openly to produce the end result. So before we examine each of the 3 services in detail, let's look at just how each of these services communicate with each other. Basically, StudyMate utilizes XML, or Extensible Markup Language. This is a standard meta language which can operate across multiple platforms and carries information. This means that the 3 services used by StudyMate can expose their core competencies and exchange data across the internet using it as a communications platform. XML lets QUT Virtual and Google Calendar exchange data despite the fact that they were created by different providers. This element of service computing and the flexibility and cross-platform functionality that it allows is the entire reason that StudyMate is possible at all. So now, let's have a look at how each individual service works with StudyMate in detail. So let's take a look at the second service.
See, look, my Google Calendar says that I have a doctor's appointment at 12 PM on Thursday, and that this will go for 1 hour. It also says I'm going to a 21st that night, which I expect to go for 5 hours from 7 PM until midnight. By accessing this data, StudyMate knows my personal commitments as well as my university timetable.
Google Calendar is a web service offered by Google and running on the Google Apps engine. It displays and allows the input of calendar information. StudyMate uses this service to access a user's personal calendar information. This information is then also encoded in XML. This allows it to be combined with the XML output from the QUT virtual service. Once again, since XML works across platforms so well, StudyMate has no problem at all combining calendar information from both of these sources.
See look, StudyMate's used the Wolfram Alpha service to combine my personal appointments and my university timetable. For Thursday, you can see my doctor's appointment from 12 to 1 PM, my lecture at uni from 1 to 3 PM, and that tutorial from 6 PM until 8 PM. The end result? It says I have 3 hours of free time between 3 PM and 6 PM on Thursday. Now usually I would just waste that, get a coffee, move slowly between classes, just mess around really. But now that I can see plainly in front of me that it's free time, I know easily when I can get study done.
So let's take a look at the third and final service which makes up StudyMate. This is where the action happens. It's called Wolfram Alpha. This next step is taking the combined information from QUT Virtual and Google Calendar and inputting it into Wolfram Alpha's Application Programming Interface, or API for short. While Wolfram Alpha is a powerful mathematical, analytical tool and calculator, the maths required by StudyMate is actually very simple. The hard part is phrasing the mathematical query itself in a way the Wolfram Alpha service can properly interpret. This is the secret behind StudyMate's inner workings, and the solution came from a first-year IT student from QUT. It is, however, subject to copyright. In short, StudyMate uses this service to correlate and compile the data from these two sources. This creates an output which displays what time periods are not occupied by values or events from either QUT Virtual or Google Calendar. This is how StudyMate calculates when you have free time. From that, it's up to you to calculate which of this free time you can study in. At the moment, StudyMate is a Mashup service available online. It's a web service. The website itself is purposefully designed for mobile devices and low bandwidth connections, with simple text and no large images. However, we plan to develop applications for Apple iOS, Windows Phone 7, BlackBerry and Android so it can be used even easier on mobile devices. Functionality will also be widened in two key ways. StudyMate will later be capable of using input from the University of Queensland and Griffith University initially, and then later other Australian universities. It will also be capable of importing data from other calendars from providers such as Apple, Windows Live, and even Evernote. These changes will not require the creation of new application components. XML will be used instead, in much the same way that information is exported from the QUT Virtual Service and the Google Calendar Service. This is another advantage of using XML, to encode and transfer data across services from different providers and on different platforms. So there you have StudyMate's strengths. It's simple, accessible, and needed. It adds value to proven web services hosted in the cloud, and it takes advantage of the flexibility and cross-platform functionality propounded by service computing and XML. That said, the limitations of a mashup like StudyMate are clear. It is entirely dependent on its three core services. It has little control over their host infrastructure, and disruption to this could cause them to go offline, disrupting StudyMate as well. Close attention would also need to be paid to privacy concerns. So now you know just how StudyMate works. But why did we make it? In today's modern world, time is one of the most valuable commodities. That's because it's scarce. With high contact hours, pressure to take part in extracurricular activities, and stressful levels of assessment, not to mention busy social lives, university students have more commitments to keep track of than ever before. Sure, they have countless tools to keep track of these commitments, but they've probably got too many. Things have become overcomplicated. StudyMate is not a complicated product. It finds out when you have things on and uses that to tell you when you don't. It can help you simplify your study plan, and in doing so, help you simplify your busy life.
StudyMate, you've saved me.